Hey everyone, my name is Kayla Fahey-Ahrndt. Welcome back to my channel. If you haven't been here before, welcome. If you love learning about leadership, mindset, career, organization planning, all those things, don't forget to subscribe and like this video so you never miss another video from me. I'm a manager in real life, and what I love to do here on YouTube is help top performers, people like you, who are great at checking off your to-do list and rocking your work, who then get promoted to be leaders, whether that's a supervisor or a manager, and now you have to lead high-performing teams, right? So how do you get results? By leading through others. That's a huge different skill set. And so I have 7 years of management experience. I have 11 years with my company. And so I just love sharing those tidbits. So if you're a millennial like me, let me know down in the comments. Are you managing a team? Do you have leaders that you're leading or frontline teams? I would love to know, because in today's video, we're going to be talking about connecting with our teams and building relationships at work and what that can do for our overall happiness and fulfillment in our lives. And we're going to have a little bit of fun too talking about it. So you might notice I have my little microphone on here. So I have a brand new setup. I have an awesome new camera here with a mic, as well as my new lights. I have my brand new chair. I brought my table from upstairs. I'm just excited to be in this space. I hope it motivates me to film more. But I'm also wearing this mic because I'm filming on my phone too, so that I have just an instant good quality sound with a vertical capture and a different angle for these videos, so I can use it for YouTube Shorts or TikTok or YouTube, whatever I decide to do with it. Just thought it'd be fun to experiment and try that out. So that's what this is. So let's hop into it. Let's talk about connections and connecting with our teams and relationships. First, I want to share a very personal, vulnerable story that I shared to my email list or my email community the other day. If you're not in my email community, I'll leave a link for you in the description below. I share fun little tidbits and facts about me, but I also share lots of leadership value. So that's where I'm going to be hanging out. Like I said, I'm making videos and I'm going to post on various social media, but my main goals for this year are YouTube and sending emails, just connecting with my people who have already said they want to hang out with me. So I sent an email on May Day, and it had that GIF, it's gonna be May, and it was JT on the inside of that doll box from the music video. He's inside, he's oh, let me out. I got that GIF from a friend. She texted me at 5:55 in the morning with this GIF. And it's funny, as millennials, that GIF and it's going to be May thing has been going on for 20 years. But although we're sick of it, we're also not sick of it, right? And so I was thinking about her, and I was thinking about sending that out to my email community, and I ended up sharing my Spotify road trip playlist. I'll also link that below. And it just got me thinking about my friends and the connections and the commonalities we share. And even if we don't talk for long periods of time, the ways that we stay in touch and how that brings me such joy, because as a millennial leader who's busy, who's a wife and a mom and a dog mom and all of the things, we need connections around us to feel fulfilled, right? I don't live in the same state as my family. So, I have to be intentional about seeing them and making connections, or else I get really lonely. So that kind of brings me to my vulnerable work story. So maybe you can relate. Tell me in the comments if you can relate to this. So when I was really good at my to-do list, getting a lot done, being super efficient, and then I became manager. And I remember the day where I actually had gone on maternity leave, right before, after I got the manager job, but before I really started in it. When I came back from maternity leave, I was then in my brand new office, and it was just me. And in the email to my email community, I described it as I felt like I was in Roller Coaster Tycoon, and there was some maintenance to be done, and they picked me up and they just put me wherever they needed me, and I had no control over it. I don't know if any of you played Roller Coaster Tycoon, but if you don't know, you can download it on your iPad. It's totally a thing. You can still play. So I do have it on my iPad. I digress. But I remember thinking oh, this is so cool. I have my own space. I'm loving this. But then pretty quickly I was oh my gosh, I'm so isolated. I feel so lonely. Now I kind of feel like disconnected. I feel like I'm not part of the team. I don't know what people are doing. I'm not seeing anybody. And like I'm extremely extroverted. And as a leader, you don't have to be extroverted to be an amazing leader, but there are times when you're like, I want to feel connected, right? I want to feel connected so that I can do the right thing for my team. And I remember just feeling like leadership is so lonely. And I remember saying that to a few people. And I've also heard people say like it's really lonely at the top. Like the higher you climb in the leadership ladder, like the more lonely it gets. And there's some truth in that, right? Like there's less peers at your level. Like I would say at my level, at my site, there's only 3 of us. But then as a system, there's maybe 20. So yeah, there's less peers at your level. So in that way, it can be lonely. But I would say if you are feeling lonely as a leader, then you're missing something. And that thing is connecting with your team. So I wanted to share a study with you. I got to grab my notes. It's the longest study on human development, and it's by Harvard. It's called the Harvard Study of Adult Development. And it's so cool. It started with a cohort of men from Harvard, and then a cohort of underprivileged men in the city of Boston. And it followed them, and then their families, and then their families. So it's like multi-generational. And it was a study all about happiness. And of course, they're gathering so many different data points because the study's been going on for so many years now. But they looked at happiness. What determines long-term, fulfilling, true happiness? And that is connections and deep relationships. So it got me thinking, if I'm at work for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, whatever that may be, I'm spending the majority of my waking hours at work, right? So when am I going to connect with people? Probably a lot of my connections are going to be at work. So how do I make those connections meaningful and fulfilling? And we might ask the question, are work relationships truly deep and fulfilling connections or relationships, like maybe with your family? And in some cases, I would say they can be, right? You can turn these work relationships into long-term, like best friend, like some of your work besties, right? Your besties now maybe came from work. But at the same time, some of them might be a little bit more transactional. But have you ever been in a work situation where all of your relationships feel transactional, right? It's just an exchange, like I need this from you, you need this from me. Email me this, send me this, right? I find that to be the case sometimes at work where I'm just so burnt out because it feels like people are just taking from me and I'm not getting anything back, right? Or I'm giving or I'm taking and it's not fulfilling. So if I think about the connections that we build with our teams and our leaders at work, how can we be more intentional to make those more relational rather than transactional, knowing that it's in the best interest of our long-term happiness to build deep and meaningful connections. So as a manager, I think we get afraid to dig too deep with people or ask too personal questions because we want it to be professional. But I think part of being managers and leaders is kind of walking that line of empathizing, understanding, knowing, and learning about somebody so that you can show people that you care, and that too they can see you as human and ask you questions and you can share. I have known some folks who won't give any details about themselves, and I find it extremely hard to work with them because it helps me to know what they're going through, what their lives are like, in order for me to be able to help them or be a better coworker. So how do we do this? Well, there's a couple ways. So if you're a leader of leaders, likely you're having one-on-one meetings. If you're not having one-on-ones, it's okay. I have a whole video that I'll put up here that you can check out on one-on-ones in the structure. And there's a free template there as well that you can grab. But you can use your one-on-one time to ask questions like, hey, how's it going? What's on your mind? How are you doing today? And see what they say. Don't shy away from those harder topics to delve into. And then share a little bit about you. Like if people are asking you, how are you? And instead of saying, oh, I'm good or I'm fine, say, oh, today is a little bit tough because of XYZ, but I'm making it through. Thanks for asking. Or, oh, today is such a good day. My sister had a baby. Like, I'm so excited for her. Share those little details. The other way you can do this is if you are leading like a frontline team or many people, go to Gemba, which means go to the place where the work is done. Go see what they're doing. And people argue like that this isn't a intentional connection because it's quick and fleeting, but I think you can make it that. So when I was had my office right there by the team, or when I was supervising, what I would do is I would go to Gemba when I knew that I needed a break from my deep work from my computer screen. So often I tried to habit stack it with when I was going to go to the bathroom or when I was going to go to lunch. So if I knew I was going to get up, I might go to the bathroom, and then instead of going back to my desk, I would go out to the floor and talk with people and be like, oh, how's the day going? What's your biggest barrier today? Anything I can fix for you? Anything going on? Hey, how's your pet salamander? I was thinking about you the other day when I saw one. My daughter wanted one. Just spark up conversations and get to know people. Start to build trust. And you're asking these questions because you genuinely care. Or if I was going to go to lunch, I might get it from my desk and just do a round, like walk around the floor with the team and say, hey, what's going on today? Oh, you getting to break? Are you getting to lunch? Oh, what are you bringing to lunch? Do you need me to grab you something? Would you like a coffee? Anything like that. Just go around, and that's how you learn about people. And then if you're a manager, and like I said, your cohort is smaller, make a point to reach out, maybe just Teams message or Teams chat or whatever chat you use to your other leaders and say, hey, thinking of you, how are you doing? Hey, had a free moment, want a coffee chat? Just be intentional about making those connections. I think that one question I get from supervisors a lot is, when am I supposed to do this? Like, I have my huge to-do list, right? Like, when am I actually supposed to get this done? Or I have so many sites to go to. And I would say this: there's a fear of not getting to your checklist items because that's what you're comfortable with, your to-dos. So you do those first, and then you're like, when am I supposed to fit in employee connections? And I would actually say is schedule your employee connections or that Gemba time whenever you're going to be intentional, and then schedule your to-dos around that. Think about those connections as more important and a higher priority than those to-do list items. And then the problem won't be, when am I supposed to fit in employee connections? It'll be, when am I supposed to do these tasks? And I would say it's so much easier to work with your leader and say, these are the tasks I have. When should I be doing these? When are these a priority? Which ones are top? Which ones are lower? Which ones can I cross off? But employee connections and meeting your team and getting to know people, that can never be crossed off. And those meetings with the people are going to tell you the most meaningful things that you need to be focusing on. If they're talking about XYZ, when you go back into your office, I got to be thinking about XYZ, right? If I have a problem with a piece of equipment, or if I have a problem with a client and the team is talking about that, oh, that's so good. They're giving me vital information. Or they're telling me, hey, Kayla, that process that you implemented last week, like, that is going so well. Thank you so much. Give the team time to celebrate with you, for you to celebrate them. You would never get that information if you're just focusing on your to-do list first and then trying to fit in the Gemba or the intentional rounding. So let me check my notes, make sure I covered everything. Yeah, I guess I want to talk about, I just really want to emphasize today that it's in our best interest to get to know each other, to be intentional about connecting and thinking about people as human first rather than taskmasters. And getting to know people makes people feel safe at work. One of the questions on our employee engagement survey is that you feel comfortable being able to speak up in your workplace and ask questions and provide your feedback to the department. And one of my team's department surveys came back super high. And that department has this amazing culture of just getting to know everybody, hanging out after work, chatting during work. And when I hear laughter in the department, like, I know it's a solid team. Like, that's my indicator of kind of the health of the team. And even though they're busy and have a lot going on, they're chatting and laughing. And that means we know that they're all really comfortable with each other and they're making those meaningful connections, and they're truly happy and excited to come to work every single day because they have friends at work and people that care about them and love them. So that's all I have for today. Just really wanted to talk about this point and acknowledge that, yes, it's hard to get out and do all your tasks when you have to round with a team, but flip that mindset and think about, I get to meet and round with the team, and then I'll get to my tasks when the time is right, and I can always ask for help when I need it. But just know that this is going to benefit mine and my team's overall life happiness. And it's proven in this study. So go look up the Harvard study of adult development. Check it out. It's so much fun to dive into that and realize that happiness is really dependent on the strength of our relationships. All right, everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe, and then check out these videos if you're into binging my YouTube channel. All right, take care. Bye.